Live from Studio 3, this is Packaging Today with Evelio Matos, Adam Peak, and Cory Connors.
Yo, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Today we are, it's just two of us, not three of us. Today we've got my buddy Cory Connors at Corrugated on the TikToks and the YouTubes and the, you name it, all of them.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Then you got me, Evelio Matos from Packaging Unboxed, IDP Direct. Man, we're tired.
Yeah.
We're traveling all over the place, right? So you just got back from Amsterdam?
Amsterdam, yeah, just Saturday morning. And what an awesome trip. What an amazing city. Packaging Europe put on an incredible event. I was honored to be a part of it. About 500 people from all over the world, mostly Europe and US, but all over the world, represented global discussions about sustainable packaging and a really cool award show that highlighted some of the latest and greatest innovations in sustainable packaging.
Wow. So what was the latest? I guess before we get into it.
Yeah.
If you're watching this on LinkedIn or YouTube,
yeah,
do us a favor. Let us know where you're watching from, right? I think last time we had people coming in from like Egypt and different parts of India and Africa, and of course the US and South America. So it's always great to see where you're coming in from, where you're watching, seeing how far this thing is going. But yeah, do us that favor. Oh, we got our buddy Ryan Fox coming in. Good morning, Ryan. What's up, man? What do we got? I mean, we got, so you were there in Amsterdam. What was one, if you got to pick one thing that you're like, this is the one thing that just blew your mind, what is that?
Yeah. I think the future is multifaceted, as we've always talked about, the future of sustainable packaging. We have to look at our materials that we're putting into the stream, that we're pulling out of the supply of the earth, if you will, and then how those are getting used, and then how those are getting disposed of. And so that's what we saw was inputs. The number one product was the Airwave packaging void fill material made by Floater. My friend Mark Rapp accepted that award, and wow, the audience went crazy for him. And then Amp Robotics won the number one in the show for innovations with their ability to sort materials at material recycling facilities using AI technology, which you know very well.
Wow. So all right, so how's Amp different than what's happening out at MERS today?
What I've heard from Amp, and when I've talked to them, they were on my podcast, their cameras are significantly less expensive and use AI technology to identify products based on how they look, and in comparison to hundreds of thousands of images that they've seen. So they could pick out a corner of a carton, and say, oh, I know what that is, or they can pick out the way the artwork looks on a file, and then scan that material to say, okay, this is recyclable now with this stream. And it's an exciting chance to move forward into actually recycling these materials.
And then we had all right, so that's awesome, right? From deploying AI in all these different areas, like that's
so cool.
That's pretty cool. We got one of the Brandons coming in. We got Brandon Jones.
Brandon.
What's up, buddy? And we just need Brandon Gomes coming in to round off the Brandon crew.
Where's Gomes?
Yeah. So we got all right. So deploying AI in packaging, like from a design standpoint, I've got that covered. I've been sharing it all over the planet. Everybody's super interested in it, but we kind of talk about like what other things AI can do. So in this case, it's machine learning to identify materials through scanning, through just visual recognition. I mean, that's insane. So the goal there is to increase the recyclability of these materials, or the acceptance of these materials.
Yes. there's so much that goes through a MRF, as you know, that
Mhm.
ends up in the landfill. And I think the more we reduce that percentage, the more we win. For the planet, we got to keep those molecules in play for again. Let's use them
Mhm.
more and more times, rather than having to harvest virgin material for packaging, which will frankly only get used once. So let's turn this single-use stuff into multi-use. So
Yeah,
let's
I
talk
think.
about the Penta Awards too, Evelio.
Yeah, man. Pinto Awards was awesome. It was 2 days in London. Met a bunch of awesome people. Day one was like just talks. We had Stefan Sagmeister. So if you're a designer, is a design celebrity. We had the team from Pantone. We had Disney. I mean, there was a ton of people. We had Patagonia. There's just so many different people coming in just to talk about design, sustainability, the future of the industry, materials, color. A lot of good stuff coming in and being discussed. But also, it was awesome for
Great.
networking, like just being able to connect. And then the follow up day was the Penn Awards Gala, which is where they announce all the winners of their actual awards show. And that
Great.
was mind blowing. Like that was beautiful. There was a huge runway down the middle of this area. Um, People came up and they accepted their awards, but I mean it was people in tuxes. It was like the Oscars. It was the nicest event celebrating packaging that I think I've ever been to in my life.
Wow.
So that was really awesome. And then I had the chance to speak there about artificial intelligence. One of the big topics that I've kind of pivoted to at this point. Morning, Sanam, coming in from Chicago,
Morning.
is AI as the consumer, not AI as the designer or the co-pilot helping us do something, but actually what happens when AI just becomes a part of everyday life, right? Like not just for
Yeah.
me as a designer, but like my mom, right? Like when AI is actually making her purchasing decisions because it has access to her medical history, it's got access to her financial documents, and it can buy groceries, it can buy clothes, it can buy,
Yeah.
it can schedule an oil change, it can do all the different things that need to happen in your everyday, like an
Yeah.
actual personal assistant.
Totally automated, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like what
Incredible.
happens to design at that point? Because you're no longer designing for like creative, you're no longer designing for a human that's making decisions. You're designing for an algorithm that's making decisions for the human.
It's mind blowing. I just saw yesterday Tesla's new robots that they're coming out
Mhm.
with, and I just these, you know, Elon, your buddy, thinks there's going to be 10 million and 10 billion of these sold, and
Yeah.
they look, and you're right, they're going to be carrying things and moving things for us, and making decisions based on the past history. You'll be able to say, "Hey, buy us a pizza," and it will know exactly what to do, right? So
Oh,
this
100%.
fascinating future.
Yeah, and Elon's not the only one building
Oh yeah,
humanoid robots at this point, right? There's a ton of companies out there that are doing these, from just like an arm essentially that can move things
Mhm.
around, to actual humanoid robots that can assist you and walk your dog, and like just the stupidest things you can possibly imagine that we do
Right.
as humans that can be done uh, via
I
this.
posted about Amazon's new robots in their warehouse, and how they were picking up crates and
Mhm.
putting them down, and people
Yeah,
were feverishly frantic one way or the other about, is this good news or bad
yeah,
news? And frankly, it seems like an obvious thing that's going to happen, and it's happening right now.
yeah. No,
So
that's the
we
crazy
need to
part.
adjust, right?
Yeah. So then packaging, do you need to design it for easier handling
Yes.
of a robot versus a human, right? Is unboxing going to be done, or reboxing or repacking? Is that going to
Yeah.
be done via automated robots or humans? Right? Because you can either design the robot to articulate in the same manner that a human does, or you can design the packaging to make it easier to be opened and packed by actual equipment, which is kind of the way that we design things now.
Hmm.
Which is, if I know you're running it on this press and you've got these production limitations, I'm going to design the packaging for that.
Yes.
So
we've been dealing with this for years about with corrugated. Is this going to run on a case erector? Is this going to go through an automatic taper? We need to adjust the corners of the carton to accept that, and so they don't get hung up in the machine. But now you're right. What if a robot has to pick this up? It needs to be a little more stout, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it could be even less thinner material. I'd love to know comments from the audience listening or watching. What do you think is going to happen? How are robots going to affect us every day? It's going to be an impressive change in our society for sure.
Yeah, no, I'd love to hear how do you think it's going to change, or how would you want it to change?
Right. Good point. We talked a lot about circularity of packaging at Packaging Europe. We had a global panel with people from all over the world represented, talking about their societies and how they're able to recycle or not able to recycle certain materials yet, and how they're excited to be able to use those materials again. And lots of talk about reuse. So there's a lot of things that are changing quickly. I think as packaging professionals, we need to be ready to adapt to these new innovations.
Yeah. No, I'm seeing here coming in from Industry Intelligence, industryintel.com. There's an article here on Labatt breweries in Canada. Just from an investing standpoint, like they're investing 10.5 million Canadian. That's like, I don't know, like $100 US into into its St. John's brewery to fund the addition of new packaging systems, right? Which is, we've seen all these different paperboard 6-pack rings.
Yep.
That doesn't just happen. You can't use the same equipment that you were using for your plastic rings. You've got to build the infrastructure in order for that to function. And in order for them to do that, it's $10.5 million to even just get started, because that's not done by hand. And that's the thing that we don't think about. It's like, oh, we're going to innovate and design this new solution that's going to be more sustainable, affect packaging, make all the changes down the list. But in order for it to actually take place in mass production, there's quite a bit of investment that happens there.
Absolutely. And a lot of cobots, like you were talking about, those arms that come out. That's just they call that a cobot. And I think that's really interesting to think about how certain aspects of certain things will be able to be automated with a robot or a cobot. And it will allow a human to do a different kind of job. Maybe that's more skilled, or maybe put them in sales or marketing or something else. Lots of new innovations. I'm thrilled. I'm totally excited about it.
That's what we always see is that when AI kind of takes over and all this automation happens, that humans can do other jobs. But I don't know. I go back to the episode where I interviewed AI and AI responded. Humans will be able to sit on the beach and drink pina coladas, and it's like, no, that's not. That is not what's going to happen. Like,
they're making us irrelevant, right? Yeah.
There's no point for us, right? AI just took over Sam Altman's job, who was the CEO of OpenAI. So if he can be replaced at OpenAI, then I'd say most of us can be replaced.
I saw Microsoft hired him immediately, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but they're the biggest investor in OpenAI, so there's a whole lot going on. There's a whole lot going on there.
We'll see.
So it's either time to invest in Microsoft and get out of OpenAI, or I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting market too, right? Yeah, we are not professional investment advisors
at all.
That was a lot of what I saw there at Packaging Europe was investors and people talking about how there's never been this many startups in the world of packaging, specifically in sustainable packaging, and not just people doing software or things like that, but people making actual materials that are brand new or new ideas, innovating in ways of using waste materials for packaging. I saw another company using wheat straw to make molded pulp. It's not non-tree pulp, which is really fascinating. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that.
Yeah, I've been. I'm always on. There's a website called wefunder.com, and it allows you to invest in a bunch of startups and stuff like that. And I always kind of look and see who's in the sustainability space. And there's a company here. I mean, there's a lot of companies on here that are sustainability focused.
Yeah.
But there's one that is changing packaging. There's one that is tree-free and plastic-free toilet paper. It kind of goes into like the whole, and you can hunt them down. It's, wefunder.com. But yeah, sustainability that's a huge thing at the moment. Now, whether or not it's actual sustainable solution, I know we know the most sustainable thing is to not actually produce anything, but that's the challenge.
People are still buying stuff, and that's not going to stop. We know that's not going to stop. For example, on my podcast, Sustainable Packaging Podcast, I just posted an episode with Notpla, who we met way back in our days on Clubhouse with Pierre, and they just won £1 million, or for those Americans listening, that's like $1 million. The Earthshot Prize with Prince William. Amazing. This is incredible to fund their research and development of seaweed-based packaging and coatings. I think this is incredible. What's happening there in that space.
Yeah. They were just certified as the only plastic-free alternative.
Awesome.
Which is amazing. Those guys are killing it.
Yeah. Exciting
to see. Super killing it.
Yeah. Actually coating to-go packaging with their material, which I think is brilliant, because that's one of those things where that material is probably not going to get recycled because it's soiled with food, right? Well, they figured out a way to coat it with something that can be composted and easily and legitimately. But it could be cleaned off and recycled as well. So to me, that's like the holy grail.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge with that, with the Notpla coating, is the fact that it breaks down so quickly. It's meant to break down. So it's not something that they can produce and store for years. It's something that begins breaking down the moment it's produced.
Yeah, true.
So you have to be near production facilities, really, in order for it to function properly. But that's kind of the whole point. It's like you've got to balance these things. Their coating goes on, it immediately starts breaking down at a microbial level, and then it actually begins the process for the paper and everything else to break down. So it can, it'll last months, but it's not something that's going to be in a warehouse. The whole point is that this stuff works so well.
Right.
And I think from a brand perspective, they're like, well, it works too well. But no, it's like if you either want something that's truly compostable and functions properly, or you don't. You got to, there's trade-offs and everything.
What an interesting point. Yeah, the trade-off of it works too well, it's too effective, it's too sustainable.
Wow. No, for sure. Just crazy stuff. I'm just kind of going down the list of news items. There's a bunch of stuff happening here. It's like more food, toiletry brands, beauty brands. Like everybody's moving to minimalist packaging design.
Yes.
There's, I don't know, it's like 5 articles today alone on this. Talking about less being more from a design perspective. I'll just share this here with you.
Yeah, for people listening, if you can eliminate a SKU, if you can eliminate a step in packaging, take a look at that. That's a way to save money and to be more sustainable. As long as you can get your material there or your item that you're packaging there safely.
Yeah, and again, articles like this where it's talking about food brands and beauty brands kind of moving into minimalist design. This goes right into the conversation that I've been having in terms of AI making the purchasing decisions. AI doesn't care if Ritz is red and blue and Ritz is really big. All it cares about is what are the ingredients, what are the certifications of the ingredients, where is it made, expiry date, allergens? Does the packaging break down? Is it suitable for different age groups?
Right.
These are the different things that AI cares about and need to be able to read immediately on a pack. If it needs additional information, then having QR codes that can direct it to that information, because it can scan that stuff instantly.
Yes.
Which is again pretty mind blowing. But yeah, definitely take a look and see why some of this stuff is happening. It's all about simplicity, making faster decisions. But if everything looks,
Hey, look at that aluminum packaging.
yeah, but if everything looks minimalist, then everything looks the same. If everybody's a superhero, then nobody's super, right? That's kind of the
Yeah, well said.
So I don't know.
Next events coming up. What do we got? We got packaging or Paris Packaging Week. Are you going to that again?
Yeah, I'll
January
be there.
17th.
Yeah,
in
middle of
France?
January. That'll be good. I'll be in Finland in a couple of weeks at the Aalto University. They do a package gala
Oh, cool.
as well. That'll be good. I think it's going to be like negative degrees over there. It's going to be freezing.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And I don't know. I don't know if the sun even comes up anymore at this point in time.
Yeah,
but yeah, that'll be good.
I very much looking forward to the Spec Right Summit in January 31st in Austin, Texas. That has proven to be an incredible event. So we'll all be there. That'll be really fun this year.
Yeah, you can check them out, specright.com, and see a little bit more about those guys. Those guys were pretty cool in terms of like their, they continue to grow, and they're now working with Feastables. Like, well, why would they be working with like this young brand that's only got a handful of products? I think every brand at some point has to start managing their specifications, and
right,
not because you need your printing, but more from an EPR standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I shared a post in I think New Jersey, the Attorney General's suing Pepsi for the waste that's in the river.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My question was like, can you blame the brand for what the consumers are doing with their product, right? The consumers are the ones that are throwing it away, not the brand. But most people came back and said, well, that's what EPR is for. But I don't know that that's what it is.
Yeah. I think that's a tough one to put that onus on one company when it's so many involved with this issue. But we'll see what happens with that. That'll be definitely something to watch.
But do you think brands should be responsible for the trash, or should it be the consumers are?
I think they should be responsible for making materials that could be recycled or could be disposed of in a way that is appropriate. Clem from Africa on my circular plastics panel at Packaging Europe was talking about how in Africa it's a sachet culture where so many things come in these little tiny plastic packages called sachets that we all know about, that are incredibly difficult to, nearly impossible to recycle, and end up in the environment. So what if we could eliminate those? That onus should be on the brands that are making those items that go into those packages that are so difficult to recycle or dispose of appropriately.
Yeah, the challenge is cost, right?
Yeah,
and I think I had Neha from NH1 Design in India. We talked about this a little bit in terms of like just the cost to produce. Trying to keep things inexpensive for a culture where cost is critical.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
And you can put it in that, or you can put it in something a little bit more substantial and recyclable and reusable, but then it becomes unaffordable.
Right.
And there's, again, it's a trade-off. It's like this balance. So how do you kind of manage those things? And that's the challenge.
I think that's the $1 million question, right? It's how do we make it easier for the consumer, affordable for the consumer, available everywhere that the consumer wants it still. Those sachets are very convenient. It's very easy to throw 3 of those into a to-go bag.
And they're easy to fill, right? I mean, you're filling millions of these on a line, and you don't have a lot of employees running this equipment. It's just like,
right.
It
Super
doesn't get any
automated.
cheaper and simpler than filling sachets.
Right.
Yeah.
That's if you're listening or watching and you have a solution to this idea, let us know. We'd be all ears.
Yeah, 100%. And if you're on, if you're on the YouTube, if you're checking this out on YouTube, then definitely, hit a like and subscribe on this thing. It helps us continue to grow and just talk about more packaging, sustainability. And I think one of the coolest things for us has been building this network.
Yes.
I know we got the Brandons on here. I know we've got Andrew Fraser, who's got you can check out his website where you can look for jobs within the packaging industry. Ryan Fox is on here as well. He's a writer for Bloomberg, and he comes on and kind of talks about, gives us the quarterly report on packaging and corrugated usage. Like,
yeah, that demand is so interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Watch how the economy affects, and how sustainability affects, and how Amazon affects, and how all of these factors affect the demand and the recycling of corrugated.
100%. 100%. I don't know. I think as we're wrapping up here, I got a show coming up here. Next episode will be with creative director of the Denver Broncos. I was kind of bummed that I didn't have Adam on the show, because I'm not a sports guy. Adam's a bigger sports guy, so I'm like, man, I'm sure there's a sports question here that I should be asking, but I got no clue. So,
tell me about that.
How do they put that ball in the hoops?
What kind of design questions would they be able to answer?
Yeah, so like anything from like season ticket packaging.
Yeah, that's gotten to be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff is crazy. It's all about the experience. Nobody really uses paper tickets. It's all about delivering an experience. Then you've got like in-store retail.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual store design and display, all the social media, all the web assets, uniforms, there's so much design that happens with a sports team that you don't really think about, because it's all about the sports.
Right.
But everything you're seeing on screen, on site, in person, they do murals throughout the city, throughout the stadium, to kind of tie everything together. And I thought it was really interesting that he moved from, I believe, Cincinnati to Denver, so he wasn't a Denver guy. But like, once you move and you're there, like that becomes your team. Right? Like, you've got to support the team. So definitely super interesting stuff. So definitely check it out when it releases. We're just waiting for approval from the Broncos team, and then we'll release that. We've got a bunch of AI episodes coming up as well. I'm just talking about new stuff that's happening. I just had my kid using, it's called Hypersketch, and you can draw on your iPad, and then you can have it render out whatever it is that was sketched into like an actual 3D image.
Amazing.
In a variety of different styles. And my kid's like, holy crap, like this is, pretty mind-blowing stuff. So definitely lends itself to packaging.
Wow.
And can lend itself to pretty much anything else. And I know your kids like to draw, so definitely check out.
Oh yeah, my son
Hypersketch.
Declan he's 11, and he's fascinated by creative endeavors. Music and art and drawing, and it's really fun to watch, and to be there to support him through that. My daughter is similar. She loves music and dance, and it's pretty awesome.
Nice.
The future is,
and then Declan's your cinematographer for your TikToks.
That's right. Yeah, he's my number one videographer for TikTok and all social media. So thank you, Declan, if you're listening.
You better be listening.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's wrap this up. Next week we'll have Adam. Adam's out today. He's traveling back from DC.
Yes.
And then he'll be. What is he going to he's heading to Dubai.
Yeah, with Mikey from Scrap.
Yeah.
Mikey will be will be speaking at what's it called?
Is it COP28?
COP28. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
exciting for Scrap, and there's 2 other companies there that'll be speaking, and Adam will be representing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff, man. So if you're in the US, enjoy your turkey
Yes.
this week,
Yeah,
and
thanks.
we'll catch up next week. Recycle that turkey. And,
Thank
and
you all.
Cory's out of energy. He just got back from Amsterdam, so he's out.
Yeah.
He's done. It's
I'm out.
bedtime.
Peace out. See ya.
See you guys. Thanks so much.
Live from Studio 3, this is Packaging Today with Evelio Matos.